Hello, Akshatha.
Yes, hello, sir.
Okay, so we have got another 5-6 minutes. We'll wait for the participants to join, then we can start, right?
Sure, sure.
Okay, fine.
Good evening, everyone. We will be just starting in another 5-6 minutes. We will start exactly at 5:15 p.m. Thank you for your visit.
Good evening, all the participants. We will start in another 5 minutes. Okay. I think we'll just start. We can expect people joining later. Good evening, everyone. So I welcome you all again for the 5th day of our workshop. For both people who are there here in Google Meet and also in the YouTube Live. Today, as we all know that as per the schedule, we have dietitian Akshatha, who is gonna give us a lot of brief regarding how the diet is to be carried out, and also with respect to that of more information with respect to nutrition in the endurance of sports. We all know that how important the nutrition and that in sports, and knowing about it is very much important. Right now, it is my privilege to give a small introduction about the speaker, dietitian Akshatha N. She is a registered dietitian and a university gold medalist. She has completed her master's in food science and nutrition with specialization in clinical nutrition and dietetics. She completed her master's in 2015 and she is currently pursuing her PhD at Mysuru University. She has got a lot of very long experience as a clinical. She has a clinical experience at the reputed institutions like JSS Hospital, Apollo Hospital, and Sigma Hospital. Now she is also a part of Ambara Wellness Clinic, where she is also the co-founder. She is very young, passionate, and she's very enthusiastic when it comes to the matter of dietitian and nutrition. And she likes to move out to the patients or the required people to give them very good information and share her experience or expertise of with respect to management of diabetes, hypertension, obesity, overweight, underweight, gastritis, and many more. And very important, she is also very well known for sport nutrition and fitness with respect to the evidence-based nutrition and functional foods and all those things. She is also a head coach and has many success stories to her credit. So I think with all these information, it's my privilege to welcome dietitian Akshatha to this program. I welcome you, ma'am. Also, I welcome all the participants here on Google Meet and also on YouTube for this program. I hope this program to be more informative and also more interactive. Initially, we'll go with a small complete explanation and presentation of the dietitian. Later on, you'll have the opportunity to interact with the dietitian. Thank you so much. It's all yours, Akshatha.
Yeah, thank you so much. Just a second. I'm trying to share my screen.
Sure.
Yeah, hope everybody can see my presentation.
Yeah, not it. Yeah, now it is coming up.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So as mentioned, there were all previous talks about endurance sports majorly, and I would like to render my gratitude towards Decathlon as well as Diksoochi. And coming to nutrition for endurance sports, it's very, very important that you play very good sports and you also have very good nutrition. Only then there would be hand-in-hand progress or better performance. So coming to what endurance sports is, it is usually the capacity to sustain physical activity for long duration of time. So here usually it starts from say 45 minutes to 70 minutes, and then it goes.
Akshatha, if you don't mind, I think you have opened the presentation, right? Slideshow.
Yes.
Yeah, but we are able to see the PowerPoint window only. We're not able to see the shared slideshow.
Okay, just give me a moment then.
Yeah,
Can you see it now?
I can see only the presentation. It is not complete in a full screen.
Moving? Okay, yeah, just a second then.
You open the presentation and then share the screen.
Yeah, I have done that. Um, yeah, now I'll put it in a slideshow. Yeah, can you see it?
Yes. It's coming up.
Yeah. Okay. So coming to endurance sports, basically you need to have a sustenance to have a long time or long term of physical activity. So that's what endurance sports means. And majorly you can say cycling, football, or probably running, swimming, etc. would be categorized under endurance sports. And the duration of endurance activity, like running, cycling, is long, and energy expenditure is quite high. And every hour, the increase in endurance activity also requires better nutrition and better approach. And endurance events are also promoted and encouraged by the government as it is health and fitness initiative, wherein a lot of aerobic activity or aerobic exercise or aerobic metabolism occurs, and that is why it's good because it helps in burning fat. And coming to what type of body weight you should hold when you are an endurance athlete. So usually your body fat percentage should be quite low when compared to that of a normal individual. And it might vary between 8 to 15%, depending on both men or women. So low body weight and fat is beneficial for endurance sports, and it is to develop ability to sustain exercise without getting tired. So that is very very important. More the fat, more is the resistance. So you will not be able to withhold that sustainability. And muscle endurance is developed with speed, strength, and endurance training. And do not forget nutrition plays a major role here. And coming to the basic nutrients that are very important for endurance or probably for any type of food is one is water, carbohydrates, and protein, fat, vitamins, and minerals. So these are the major nutrients very important for endurance, and I will go about it one by one. Coming to fluid, usually people tend to drink plain fluid if they're not well aware of what happens if you take just the plain fluid after your activity. The best type of fluid would be the electrolytic fluid or including ORS solutions or electrolyte, etc. And how to monitor your urine is very important because dehydration can be one of the major reasons why performance can be drastically hindered. So fluid is a major component of the body. So about 60% of fluid, or the 60% of the body is made up of fluid. And how do you know your sweat rate? So usually you check for your weight before exercise and weight immediately after your exercise, plus the total fluid consumed during the exercise, and you check for the amount you must consume to replenish the sweat loss. So usually check for your weight pre and post exercise so that you get to know what is the weight loss or what is the fluid loss that is happening. Immediately during the exercise, the only thing that loses first is your fluid. So this is how you check for the fluid and then replenish it back. So keep in mind the urine color. So be well hydrated before you start any kind of exercise or your event, or even before the pre-event. Please keep yourself hydrated. And there's a chart wherein it says if you are well hydrated, it is pale yellow in color. More the color of the urine, that means dehydration has already.
Sorry to break you again. Again,
Yes.
the same I think we are not able to see the complete slide. We are still sticking on to the your slide, old slide only.
Oh, okay. Let me just check with the network probably.
Now you open it. Now you open the slideshow.
Yeah, just a second.
If you share the PowerPoint and then open the slideshow, it'll only show the PowerPoint only. It will not show the slideshow. Now slideshow
Can you see it now?
only see the old one only.
Just a second.
Okay. The problem is you have to share. You do one thing. If there is no problem for you, you can share the entire screen and then try.
Okay. Yeah, that I can do. Mm. Yeah, is it?
Yes.
Is
Yes.
it?
Yes. Fine now.
Yeah.
Please go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay, so I was previously talking about the fluid and your urine color, which is very important to analyze the state of hydration or dehydration. Coming to the major, signs of dehydration, first thing you feel is nausea or fatigue, muscle cramp, and decreased stamina, strength, and speed. Thirst is also one of the major dehydration signs. Headache, dizziness, and confusion. So do not wait until you feel thirsty. Please try to consume a fluid every half an hour during the event and keep yourself hydrated immediately after and before the event starts. So keep in mind if you are not rightly hydrated, then there might be greater chances that your performance can also be hindered, or you might end up having muscle cramps, or your strength can come down, or maybe you might feel fatigue or nauseated quickly as soon as the event starts. And coming to hyponatremia, so this is a condition where the sodium levels in the blood comes down, majorly because here, this is due to loss of sodium in the sweat, and often seen in endurance sports because the duration of time that the person is indulged in sports is quite long when compared to the time that he is keeping himself hydrated with the right amount of sodium in it. So, result of excess loss of sodium during the exercise or excessive water intake, that is what I was mentioning previously. Excessive fluid or the plain fluid intake will cause dilution of electrolytes within the body, and that can cause hyponatremia as well. So, when you are sweating, there are a lot of electrolyte loss happening. So when you are trying to replenish yourself, do not just take plain liquid. Instead, go for electrolytes, tender coconut water with pinch of salt in it, or maybe buttermilk or lemon juice with added salt and sugar in it, or go for ORS solutions or sport drinks. Now, this does not mean that I'm trying to say consume a lot of sport drink, but only during the important event or during the competition alone you can consume it. And this does not mean that always you have to carry a sport drink with you. You can always go take tender coconut water or even ragi ganji, etc., or thin liquids would do. Coming to carbohydrate, one of the primary sources of energy for the muscle tissue, and usually people tend to understand that if you are a sports person, you tend to have less calorie or less carb, high protein diet. Now that is the complete wrong type of understanding that you've got. If you have good type of carbohydrate, only then the protein will be utilized. So if not, then the protein will start acting like carbohydrate in your body. Thus, you should end up having good carbohydrates in your diet. So only source of energy that goes into your brain and preferred source of energy for your nerve tissue or nerve conduction must be present for fat metabolism, and also it helps in protein sparing action that I mentioned previously. So this is the carbohydrate intake in endurance event. So this is during the exercise that I'm mentioning. If you have an exercise duration of say 45 minutes to 75 minutes, say cycling for an hour or 1.5 hours or swimming, etc., then the amount of carbohydrate needed would be 20 gram or 0 to 20 gram per hour. Okay. Now you have to take a small quantity between the exercises, and the recommended type of carbohydrate usually can be glucose, or you can add along with that fructose. Fructose is nothing but the fruit sugar. Now, if your activity goes beyond 1.5 hours to 2.5 hours, then your carbohydrate intake also increases from 30 to 60 grams per hour. And here you can start taking energy bars or gels that will help you in gaining the strength. Now, this is during the exercise or in between the event. And if you have an endurance sports about 2.5 hours, and this might last up to say 17 or 20 hours, then up to 90 grams of carbohydrates every hour would be a better way to keep yourself from losing your muscle or feeling fatigue. And here, try to have multiple transportable carbohydrates. So thus, you can have glucose, fructose, or maltodextrin, etc. Coming to sources of carbohydrates, we have Indians are known to eat a lot of carbs. So the source would be the cereals with the rice, wheat, ragi, millets, etc. And legumes, fruits and vegetables, of course, give good amount of carbohydrates, but they are in the complex form. That is, they have a lot of fiber in them. And low-fat dairy products do have carbohydrates. And when if it comes to the refined or processed method of having carbohydrates, then the refined sugar, jaggery, processed bakery products, all the maida products, etc., and snack foods are also having rich carbohydrates in them. And you have carbohydrates also stored in your body, that is liver in the form of glycogen, and even in the muscles as a form of glycogen. Only when there is low blood glucose levels, thus the glycogen will get converted to a glucose molecule, and then it gets utilized. So you should have a store of carbohydrate. That is very, very important. This should be loaded before your event. So liver will usually held up to say 300 to 400 grams of kilocalories from carbohydrates, and muscle around 1200 to 1600 kilocalories of glycogen form of source. Coming to the benefits of carbohydrates, one is it has to maintain a very good level of blood glucose levels, and adequate blood glucose level is very equal to glycogen not getting converted to glucose. That means we should not pull source or carbohydrate source from muscle to our blood levels. Now, if that happens, so what happens is fatigue is set in very, very quick. So that is why we are not supposed to pull out the glycogen stores from liver or muscle. And less glycogen utilization results in less muscle fatigue and increased endurance or increased sustainability throughout the event. And coming to importance of protein, this is well aware of most of the sports persons are already taking a lot of supplements. And but one thing I need to warn you all: do take protein in only when it is required and it is prescribed by a right nutritionist. So not everybody can prescribe you protein, and be very careful because there are a lot of incidents where people end up having a lot of other organ issues due to taking high protein levels for what is not required to their body. And it is needed for growth and repair of all cells. And of course, the muscle repair and tissue building happens with the good amount of protein. It helps to maintain fluid balance, and it is necessary for formation of blood cells, enzymes, antibodies, and hormones. Proteins are used as a transporter of nutrients throughout the body. So, and the major thing is it will keep you full for long duration of time. So that is what it says as the diet. Coming to protein needs, it increases, the need increases depending on what level of endurance activity you are planning to do. Example, now it is just for, say, around 1 or 2 hours every day of endurance activity you are planning, then it is about 1.1 to 1.2 grams per kg body weight per day. Now, if you are planning for more than 2 or 3 hours of activity, then it is 1.2 to 1.4 grams per kg body weight, and this is for the repair of tissues. For strength like weightlifting and so on, or trained athletes where they are doing both weights as well as they are doing endurance activity, then protein requirement increases to 1.6 to 1.7 grams per kg per day. And this is mainly for the repair and for accumulation and maintenance of the lean tissue. Lean tissue is nothing but the muscle tissue. And total calorie intake must be sufficient, as I mentioned previously when I was talking about carbohydrates. If you consider taking low calorie and taking high protein, then what happens is protein will jump into the role of carbohydrate and start working like a carbohydrate, and it will not take care of the tissue repair or muscle building. So you need to take good calories along with high protein. Coming, as I mentioned previously, if for a normal individual who is not into too much sport or an average man, it is usually zero point 0.8 grams per kg body weight of protein. And if you are having any recreational or you just want to be fit and you are going to gym or doing an exercise or activity, then 1.1 to 1.4 grams. And if you are doing an endurance wherein you are, indulging in more than 2 hours of endurance activity, then 1.2 to 1.4 grams, and weightlifting, strengthening, etc., will need up to 1.7 grams of protein. Okay, so again, the dosage of protein at once you can't take, say, example, I get clients who say, morning I'm taking around 4 scoops of protein, and then evening again I'm taking around 4 scoops. So this will not work. So protein should be divided throughout the day and try to be taken as in zero point 0.4 grams of protein per kg per meal, and to optimum stimulation or utilization of the protein. And example like whey protein usually helps in good muscle building and tissue repair. So taking whey protein at night and little higher dosage of whey protein can help in recovery, best recovery during the body. And coming to fat, so majorly when I previously mentioned about body composition, keep in mind that fat also is required, but that does not mean that you eat a plenty of them. So this adds flavor to the food and promotes satiety or keeps you full. And of course, when you add ghee to chapatis or when you add seasoning to any of the curries, so it adds flavor. And this is a major component of cell wall. So any muscle building, this requires fat and provides necessary padding to the organs. So these are nothing but a visceral fats that covers and insulates the organ and needed for absorption of major fat soluble vitamins like vitamin A, D, E, K, etc. And you must keep in mind that fats give the highest calorie per gram when compared to carbohydrate and protein. So it is 9 kilocalorie per gram. So you need not eat a lot of fat to get a lot of energy. So a little quantity and good quality fat will do the needful. Can you give me names of good fat and bad fat? Yes. So majorly good fat, when you tell about good fat, we can consider having nuts, you can consider having ghee, you can consider having a good amount of refined tufa like fish oil or fish, etc. And bad fat are usually the palm oil or saturated fats, but saturated fats act as good fats until certain limit, and only if you take it in a lot quantity, then they convert itself into a bad fat. So trying deep fried baked items, trans fat, etc., would be called as bad fat, but the lean tissue or lean fat would be from the fish oil, which gives you mufa, kufa, etc. And as you can see in the image, the effect of diet on physical endurance. Now, if you have fat and protein diet, so the maximum endurance time would be 57 minutes, while a high carbohydrate diet can give you endurance up to 167 minutes. This is because of good muscle glycogen storage and good amount of glucose levels in the blood. And the fat cannot do the same. That is why fat should be kept, in moderation when compared to that of carbohydrates and proteins. Coming to vitamins and minerals, this do not give you any kind of energy, but they are required in body's metabolism process or for utilization of all the major nutrients I mentioned previously, like carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Now, what happens is, as soon as you hit the gym, you will be instructed to start taking calcium supplements, vitamin D supplements, or multivitamins, etc. So you don't require supplements all the time and for everyone. If you are eating a normal meal that is prepared at home and you are taking a regular diet, then you don't require to take supplements unless and until you have an anemia or you have any particular vitamin deficiency that is very prominently seen and it is identified by a doctor. Do not simply overdose yourself with vitamin and mineral supplements. Very important, because when you eat a normal diet, it will have most of the vitamins and minerals that is required for your work. Coming to vitamins for athletes, always keep in mind the B complex vitamin, and female athletes should also keep in mind iron, B12, and folic acid, because anemia is very, very common in female athletes. And similarly, you have fish oil, magnesium, niacin, riboflavin, thiamine, etc. And in minerals, always keep in mind the electrolytes, sodium, potassium, magnesium, chloride, etc. Zinc, chromium, fluoride, iron will also be required. Now, all these are naturally present in most of the diet that you will be consuming, unless and until you are on some kind of a diet wherein you're not trying to eat a normal meal at all. So only in such cases vitamins and mineral prescriptions are required. If not, do not overdose yourself with any of the supplements. Coming to events. Now, pre-event, what are your goals? Now, example, say you are planning for an event or the endurance event coming up. So one thing is you should keep your carb levels loaded. That means to say that your liver glycogen stores and muscle glycogen stores should be loaded. Your blood glucose level should be in the good range and your hydration status should be well. So in that case, what are you going to do? For fluids, you take for 5 to 10 ml per kg 2 to 4 hours before the event. And prevent hunger. So don't start your event on empty stomach, and do take easily digestible source of carbs that can help you to sustain. Feel energized and don't try to dump a lot of food in yourself just before the event and you feel quite heavy. Coming up to fueling up during the event. Now, your event might last from say 1 hour to 20 hours or 17 hours, depending on what type of endurance activity you are doing. So, throughout the event, keep hydrating yourself and sip of say, half an hour, sip water or sip the sports drink or electrolytic fluid every half an hour or 45 minutes, and keep carbohydrate intake of about 30 to 60 grams per hour during the activity. Now, this can be achieved by taking gels or energy bars or energy gels, etc. And fluid intake of about 0.4 to zero point 0.8 liter per hour during the exercise. So what can you take is Ganji water, gels, bars, sport drinks, tender coconut water, etc. Now, if you are not fueling up regularly in both manners of carbs and water or hydration, you will easily end up having sports injury that would be due to cramps, fatigue, and you might miss out on the right step during your sprint or marathon, etc. So keep in mind, fueling up is very, very important, and you don't pull out the stores, the glycogen stores. Now, post-event recovery, the first half an hour is the golden period wherein high requirement of nutrition is there, high requirement of hydration is there. So, have around 1.25 to 1.5 liters of electrolyte fluid for every kg loss during the exercise or the event. And high glycemic index food. Now, GI means high glycemic index. That is, as soon as you eat, the sugars or blood glucose level should increase. Now, what are the foods that usually increase your blood glucose levels? Are rice, energy gels, and white bread, and ragi porridge. So these are ones that immediately boost up your glucose levels, or even the plain glucose or glucose water, and then take a good wholesome meal that has both carbohydrates and proteins. The major take home message that I will say is simply because you are exercising more, you should not take a free pass with regard to your eating habits. So, majorly when we see the sports individuals, of course, in the national level and international level, even during the off season time, they do take time in practicing, they do take time in focusing on their nutrition. But those who are just budding up, once they have stopped their practice, their diet also stops. That is not the case. So if you have stopped the event, that does not mean you should not do the exercise or endurance activity, and you should also be following the right type of nutrition. A proper nutrition is the key to unlock your body's potential. So the right nutrition is the key, and right mindset to train yourself is the key. So every time you eat is an opportunity to nourish your body. So choose rightly. Even if you say you're exercising and you tend to eat a lot of fast food, and that is going to damage your body. So whenever you're eating, think twice, choose right, and then nourish yourself. Yeah, thank you. Any doubts?
I request the participants you can post questions if you have. There are some questions on YouTube I'll ask, but I'll just give a chance to the participants here first. Let's not simply break. Ma'am, just there are a few questions. Out of that, one is that with respect to the like consumption of liquid during the sports time. Let us say that we all see. Just to elaborate, what kind of question it is. In a sports, in between having the liquid, what kind of liquid they should have, or what kind of food consumption they should do if there is a long term game like football, cricket, or something like that. What kind of liquid and food do you suggest for them to consume?
Yes, see, one thing is we go natural, and you can have tender coconut water, add a pinch of salt, because tender coconut water tend to have most of the electrolytes, but sodium is little less when compared to the actual requirement. So you can use tender coconut water with salt and dash of lime. The second thing is you can use any sports drink that has good amount of electrolytes in them, or say the rice water. So if you cook rice and then there is water, so you can use rice water or barley water or kanji water. So these can be one of the best sources of electrolytes with maybe little buttermilk, etc. Now, if you are on any major events where you are competing and you require a lot of boost of energy, then go for sports drink. So that would be my suggestion.
Thank you, ma'am. There's one more thing, like with respect to use of this energy drinks during workouts.
Okay.
How feasible it is, because some of them say it is good, some of them say it is not good. So
Okay, so usually energy drinks, I don't prefer if you are having just a workout session on a day-to-day basis, because one thing, it gives a lot of extra calories without giving proper right nutrition. Example, a few carbonated beverages or caffeinated beverages, etc. In such cases, you can go for simple home-prepared lemon juice with salt and sugar, and that should do the wonders. So why do you take energy drinks during workout? Is just to keep yourself hydrated, and this is on a daily basis. Now, say if you are cycling for long duration of time, even during practice, then you require carbohydrate source. In such cases, you can go for gels or energy bars that does the wonder, or sports drink that also gives carbohydrate, not just the electrolytes. So on a daily basis, if you are doing just the gym workouts and trying to be fit, then I don't think energy drinks are required, because they will not have all the nutrients that are required, and that might tend to give a lot of empty calories.
Thank you, ma'am. On a curious note, I just wanted to ask one thing. Like, what is your suggestion regarding the proteins? Whatever the whenever we get into it's a very common nature for everyone nowadays. All youngsters, we all look forward to get into gym once we reach some once they reach 17 or 18, something like that. They all will be very conscious about their body for some time. It may not be some. Most of them will not sustain or retain their consciousness on their body for a long time. But when they're doing it for a very short time, they may not be knowing whether they will be continuing or not. But every gym will always, like most of the instructors, they suggest us everyone to go for protein. So what is your suggestion on that?
Well, this might be a controversial statement then, because I don't suggest protein. Unlike, there is no requirement, because those boys or whoever is trying to hit the gym is just for their fitness. So unless and until they are going for a weight training where they want to build their muscles, or where they want to increase their weight, and they are competing somewhere, I don't think protein is required. But a good nutrition should do all the wonders. A right type of choice in your food habits would do the wonders. But I understand, because as a dietitian, I see lot of clients who come for sports nutrition and who have already hit the gym. Directly they will suggest that, yes, we have been suggested with this protein, say 50 grams, 60 grams. Now they are not nutritionists. So unless and until it does not come from a nutritionist, do not try to take protein supplements, because your body physiology is very important, and the protein overload can cause major damage to your organs. And that, as you mentioned, the short duration of time you take a lot of protein, so direct effects are seen.
Yeah, that's true, ma'am. We have heard about that also. A lot of what miscommunication sometimes happens. Frankly speaking, yes, definitely they address them as a dietitian or nutritionist at gym, but they all suggest go with the protein. Can you please give some alternatives for those who are actually in vegetarians? Like in non-veg, we find a lot of what meat or something like that. Whatever the meat they eat, it contains a lot of protein. But with respect to for vegetarians, which all the food do you suggest for them to have good amount of protein?
Okay, so we have a lot of sources of protein. One is you have a lot of pulses, say example sprouts, say moong dal or urad dal, etc., horse gram dal, etc. The second thing is milk and milk products, example paneer or cheese, wherein 100 grams of paneer would give you up to 20 grams of protein easily. And the other than that, you have nuts. They give good amount of good fat as well as good amount of protein, so you can take that as well. And whey water, when you churn the buttermilk is also a good amount of it has calcium and protein. While the whey water, after removing the paneer out, so that water also has a lot of protein in them. So those would be the right choices. And of course, for non-vegetarians, you have chicken, egg, etc.
How about having egg, ma'am? Like they say, like there are a lot of different what procedures of having egg. Some say like it's good to
Having
drink that raw egg.
raw egg.
Yeah,
No,
some says about boiled.
no, I don't suggest raw egg because usually what happens is the outer portion of the egg usually contains microbes that can be very, very fatal to us if taken in the raw form. Because once you break the egg, the shells can fall off, and raw egg also has something called as anti-nutrients, and those anti-nutrients can be of trouble, and all the proteins required for the body will not be easily absorbed. Now, the boiled or the cooked form or the omelette form would be the better choice. One is because it is heated and all the microbes die. The second is the anti-nutrient property of the raw egg would also vanish, or it would be, better for consumption. So, egg is right, and most of them suggest that you only eat egg white and not the yolk. If you are taking, say, 2 or 3 eggs per day, depending on what type of activity you are doing or etc., you can take a whole egg because the yolk contains all the vitamins, fat soluble vitamins that and do not throw it out.
Thank you, ma'am. Just last thing that I'll be asking from my side. If there is any question, participants can ask anytime. Which food do you suggest every sportsman to not to miss? Means they should eat that. And at the same time, which food or anything that you would suggest them not to consume at all?
One is the food that I usually prefer all the sports person is rice, because they think that rice is something that they'll put on weight with, but most of the sports person will be on a very good exercise regimen. So giving good amount of carbohydrates is very important. And I also personally like tender coconut water because it is very, very important that you keep yourself hydrated. And this is the best source of all the electrolytes and cheapest source when compared to that of the sports drink. The third would be buttermilk or curds because probiotics is very important for a sports person. And fourth is consuming good amount of fruits and vegetables because whenever they focus on carbohydrates, they tend to forget about fibers. And if you ask most of the sports person, they end up having constipation because protein again is there, and they eat a lot of egg or chicken, and then they eat a lot of rice, but there is no fiber. So if you see any of the sports person in that matter, fiber is very low, and most of them end up having constipation. So that is somewhere I suggest having a lot of fruits and vegetables and keep yourself hydrated. Now, the food that I don't want any sport person to have is fast food or foods like burgers, pizzas, etc., because those are the ones that can spoil the entire regimen at one go. So even if you say one day I'm going to cheat myself with the diet, so there are a lot of ill effects. So once in a while, off-season eating is okay, but eating it on a regular basis during the event or when you are working for the event is very, something that I would ask the sports persons to avoid.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think there's a question in the chat box. Can you please see that?
Yeah. Yeah, so I did
about
mention even after a very long time playing, I'm not able to reduce fat. What is your suggestion to reduce fat around the tummy? Okay, so here you play badminton and you are giving work for your legs and your hands and your mind for coordination, right? Now, what is your stomach doing? It just moves along with you. There is no bending or there is no stretching that is occurring for your stomach unless and until you are playing a hard match wherein you are trying to go to all the corners of the court. So here, before you start playing badminton, do another exercise wherein you will be focusing, exercise or stretching mostly on your abdomen, say plank position, or sleeping asanas that focuses on your abdominal region. So that would do the wonders, and then you can continue your badminton.
Yeah, just about listening that question, I just wanted to know, like most of the whatever the like sinus or some respiratory problems or cough kind of problems, usually people suggest or doctors suggest us to go for like badminton would be one of the best solution. Um,
Yes.
so at the same time, we all have thought that it is one of the best exercise to maintain the fitness of the body. But as you were telling about like being so what we have to be like hard enough to be playing in the game, you are telling. So for which and all the sports, like any specific sports that are helpful for any specific kind of problems, like as I was telling for respiratory or cough or kind of things, we say badminton is quite good. It's a good solution. Is there any other sport that you can suggest for other than this respiratory problems?
I think yoga and pranayama techniques can help for respiratory disorders and any kind of aerobic exercises. Example, say swimming. So you will be having a lot of, you withhold the air and you breathe it out only in the stipulated time duration. Such kind of exercises will help increase your lung stamina, increasing the air holding capacity of your lung, and yogas that will try to train your mind. So that is very important. All the aerobic exercises, including say Zumba or dance, everything wherein you breathe. But keep in mind, you have to breathe in a pattern wherein you are focusing on your breathing and not panting. So that is.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Just one personal question from my side. That is like, I am like I am of a height of 6'1", and there is a lot of back pain that we get without any proper reason. I don't have any proper reason, I should say.
Okay.
Even though I try to follow a lot of what measures, sitting straight or like trying to maintain my back straight or something like that. Even I play badminton. With all that, like still there is some like a part of my back pains without any specific reason. Is there
Okay.
anything that you can just help me out with that?
Yes, one thing is your posture, very, very important. And are you working sedentary? That means you sit throughout the day for your work?
Yeah, like not like when only recently we are doing so. I actually work as an assistant professor. Usually I used to walk around, stand in a class for a long time, but now due to this
And
corona pandemic, we sit a lot.
okay. Now, one thing is you couch yourself, or since you are taller, you feel approaching the person next to you, you need to bend a bit. So, that might be one of the postures. The second thing would be stress. So, even if you have stress, without having your own self conscious, you will hold the back muscles very stiff. So, that would be one of the reason that can give you back pain, or this would be due to stress. So try to relax yourself and try seeing, or you can always visit us and we will help you out with your back pain.
Thank you so much. Any other question from the participants you can ask? Oh, there's one more question in the YouTube, ma'am. Like it's, I don't know how to ask this question. Like, can you give any alternatives for junk food? They're asking.
Okay, so I think I can give. So you make churumuri at your home. That is an alternative because you add a lot of vegetables and you add spices of your choice, lemon, etc. And you eat with the mandaki or the beaten rice. So that's good choice and make it at home with the right amount of oil and not at in the outside. The second thing you can make, maybe sandwiches with whole wheat bread and add a lot of vegetables, paneer, cheese, etc. And that can be also one of the snacks. Or you can also have some kind of sweet dishes if you have a sweet tooth. Prepare it at home, milk based or sprout based, or say moong dal, payasam, or gaskase, or the poppy seed payasam. That helps you sleep well as well as it helps you relax. So something like this, home based. And if you go back to your ancestral ages, or say even in your granny's age, there was no junk food. but they used to prepare certain type of dishes that could be eaten in the evenings, or the snacks that usually they prepare. So such dishes can be taken. Avoid deep frying, but you can take any other alternatives.
Thank you, Akshata. There's one more question on YouTube. It is from Rudresh. She's asking, like, now Yogasana is considered as an official sport. So having any electrolytes or energy bars, carbs in between the competition or during the competition doesn't have any adverse effect.
This usually what happens is during yogasana, every part of your body is active, and if it is just an hour duration, I don't think there is requirement. And if the yogasana goes into various competition levels, and of course you need a break, and during the breaks, taking sips do not give you any adverse effect. But of course, yogasana, when practiced previously, it is usually kept on empty stomach. But now during competitions, they try to give little breaks in between, and those breaks you can have gels or sport bars. But again, do not try to fill your stomach with that, and sips of water could help, or even the mouth rinse with glucose, etc. will.
Yeah, thank you, Akshata. I'll just give 1 minute for the participants here in the meet to, if they have any question.
Sure.
Okay, I think that's all the questions we have. I assume that there is no question from the participants here in the meeting, nor on the YouTube meet now. I don't find any more questions here. Okay, so I think we have come to the end of the program for the day now. I thank Akshata for giving us so much of information. Definitely, your presentation was much informative, and we never had to ask anything more. You had a lot of information that you have just put on a presentation, and of course, the answers that you have given for the questions that have been asked by the participants and from my side, it was wonderful. Thank you so much, and definitely we appreciate your alternative for the junk food. Definitely, everybody will be loving it, and definitely they would follow it. And thank you so much for giving us some insights regarding the energy bars and how carbs have to be consumed and all those things. Some of the information were very new for me and for most of us. I think we will definitely follow most of the things that you have already specified to us. So with that, I consider that there is no more question. I thank you on behalf of Diksoochi and Decathlon and all the participants here for your complete time and your complete presentation that you gave us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And with your permission, can I just transfer your contact details and things to the participants so that they can call you back and reach you back anytime? Or
Yes.
is there any other number? This number I can give, right?
Not current number that you tried to contact with. I will just share my slide.
Please.
The last has the contact details.
Definitely. You please share the slides. I'll just pass it on to all the participants and registrants. We hope to see them coming to you for most of the things. And we have a response in the chat box also. Nice session. Thank you so much, sir, for the response. Thank you so much, Akshata, for your time and your complete information here. And I thank all the participants who are here patiently listening to us and for their questions and their interaction with the dietitian. Thank you so much. We look forward to see you all tomorrow in the quiz event. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.